So, welcome back to Wind, the Reach of Impact. And our next Wind session is called the Jetstream Effect. Devin Caron is the founder of Devon Leigh Marketing. She's a marketing strategist, creative director, and entrepreneur with more than a decade of experience helping businesses grow through strategic storytelling, digital marketing, and print communications. She partners with businesses to build marketing strategies that connect, convert, and create lasting impact. Welcome so much to the Summer Summit, Devin.
Thank you. And thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Excellent. I just laid the foundation of who you are. Can you share with everybody a bit more about yourself?
Absolutely. I've been in marketing for 15 years, and throughout that time, I've had the opportunity to pretty much do it all, work with agencies, in house marketing teams, nonprofits, and businesses of all sizes. And today, I have the opportunity to run my own business where I partner with companies to help them grow through marketing, but also through authentically telling their story.
So let's not skip over the part where now I started my own business, So let's focus on that for a moment in our foundational and how we spread our impact. So what was that decision process for you? Why did you decide to do that?
Yeah, I decided to start my own business for a couple of reasons. The top one being I had been the chief marketing officer. I had been the marketing director in many businesses, and it was rewarding, but then there was also the side of it that I saw a lot of small businesses needed help and couldn't properly get that. It was out of reach for them. So that always kind of stuck in my mind. And then it was a series of just kind of working in environments that didn't feel authentic to me. And it all really came down to a conversation I had with my sister who said, maybe you just need to work for a strong woman. And I thought I could be that strong woman and work for myself. And then Devon Leigh Marketing was born.
That is incredible. I I just love that you said that. My motivation for working for myself was literally, you know, that's this is the last time I'm going to lose my job in advertising, and I don't know what else I'm going to do, but I'm not going to go through this anymore. So incredible! I love that you said that. So you really want to talk about reputation. So I'm going to turn it over for you to take it. And would you like me on screen with you, or you want me to pop off and pop back on later?
Whatever you want to do.
Okay, I'll
I'm
I'll
okay
leave
with
you.
either.
I'll leave you to it, and if you want me, I'll pop back in anytime.
Perfect. Sounds beautiful. All right. So, although I've worked across many different industries, one thing that's always stayed the same is that business is built on relationships, and relationships are built on trust. So, before we dive in, if you could all quickly just think of someone who you've worked with that you would recommend without hesitation for an opportunity. And don't overthink it. Just the first person who popped to your mind, and then think of one word that immediately comes to mind when you think of them. And if you feel comfortable, you can just share that in the chat, and we will come back to that. Um, yeah, so just think of one word, the first one. All right. When I first saw today's topic, the sentence that stood out to me the most was that your reputation is shaped through every conversation, interaction, and connection you make. The more I began to think about that and what I was going to say here today, I realized that it's exactly how my career has unfolded. When I look back on my career, I can honestly say that many of the biggest opportunities, if not all, I've had have come from a connection I've had. They come from the people that I've worked with before, or someone who remembered me years later, someone who trusted me enough to build their brand. because your reputation is shaped through every conversation, interaction, and connection you make. And that has taught me that your reputation is something you're building long before you ever even need it. Early in my career, uh, social media wasn't what it was today, which kind of dates me. But businesses were just starting to ask, should I even be on Facebook? There wasn't a roadmap, and to be honest with you, I absolutely loved figuring it out. I was building social media strategies, creating content, and helping businesses understand the power of digital marketing long before it became just a standard practice. And the work that spoke for itself. And I was able to build a career doing something that I genuinely loved. But here's what I found really interesting when I looked back on everything. That alone didn't land me my next job. What landed me my next opportunities was the relationships that I had built, not just the work that I was doing. It was the coworker who remembered me and what it was like for me to work with me, the client who saw me go above and beyond for them, and the manager who saw me take on a stressful situation, and when a new opportunity came up, mentioned my name. And even today, more than a decade later, I still receive referrals from an internship I had in 2015. And it's not because they saw every campaign I created or every social media caption I wrote. They remember what it was like to work with me. And that was one of my biggest lessons in my career. Because the thing is that your skills might be the thing that opens the door, but your reputation is what keeps opening doors long after the work is done. And starting my own business made that lesson even clearer. Because when your name is on the business, like mine, your reputation becomes the business. And people aren't just hiring you for your skills, but they're putting trust in you. And I realized that every client meeting, every email, every conversation, and every project is another opportunity to either build trust or lose it. And one thing I love about what I do is that I spend so much time talking about branding with companies, and I help them define who they are and what they stand for and how they want people to see them. But the truth is, every one of us has a personal brand too. Whether you realize it or not, we're telling people who we are every single day through our communication, how we solve problems, and very simply put, just how you treat people. And over time, all those little moments become one reputation. One of the biggest lessons of my career has taught me is that opportunities rarely come from the people that you're trying to impress. They come from the people that you've consistently shown up for. Those are the people who remember you. Those are the people who trust you. Those are the people who recommend your name when you're not in the room. So before I wrap up, I asked you guys all to put one word in the chat for what came to mind when you thought of that person you recommend. And I'm going to guess that none of you put the job title, nobody put director, and nobody put CEO. And instead, I'm guessing you put trustworthy and reliable, supportive, kind. And those are the words that describe how that person made you feel and what it's like to work with them. And that's what reputation really is. It's not your title or it's not your last accomplishment. It's the experience that people have when they work with you. And that's the story that they're going to continue to tell long after you've left the room. So if I can leave you with one thing today, it's that don't just focus on building your resume, focus on building your reputation along with it. Because your reputation is the story. And that's the most important part. And the story is written one conversation and one interaction at a time. So thank you.
Excellent. You definitely resonated with a lot of people in the chat. And so I want to, this goes back to what I had mentioned in the lunchtime panel about, being heard, right? So reputation is also about being seen the way that you want to be seen, which, yes, in your authentic being, but sometimes you do have to adjust in order to fulfill something that might be out of your comfort zone, right?
Right.
So, how do you manage your reputation when you're in that learning process, right? Because you don't have those skills, you don't know those things, you can't be known or recommended for something. People only see you trying to do something.
Right. I think that when you're in that learning phase, it's really important to be honest about where you're at and where you want to go, and to ask the questions for the things that you don't know, because that's the way you're going to learn.
Excellent. I mean, you were very thorough. A lot of people wrote their words down. Why was that important for you to help people make that connection? That it wasn't a title.
So I think when it comes back to it, like those words, those things, that we all put, that's also what you want to lean into, right? The word that you thought of for your person that you immediately came to mind for you is what we want to probably be known for as well, being dedicated and kind and courageous. So making that connection is also, it's so much easier to look at someone else and say, like, this is why I would recommend them. But then taking that and looking inward is also important.
What is your advice for adjusting your reputation if it's not coming back the way that you want it to be perceived?
Yeah, you got to take a step back. You have to look at things, including yourself, from the outside. You have to see how people see you and kind of just go back, review things, whether it's maybe you're too abrupt on a phone call or the email isn't being read the way you want, and just take a step back, look and think, why was that? And reflect. Because only you can really change that path forward.
And where would you go to get honest feedback on your reputation?
Yeah. You know, there's so many places you can ask the people who are closest to you just to get that like raw answer. And then there's also all the people that you've worked with and connected with. It's okay to ask for feedback at the end of a project, at the end of your time, whatever they may be. Just ask, because you're never going to know unless they tell you.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. You will be back in a few shortly for our panel discussion.